Melisa Caprio is an author, photographer, and creator of Postcards to the Universe. We are so lucky to have her on the show today. She is going to talk all about how she got into Postcards from the Universe by following little threads that her intuition gave her, and how doing that her whole life led her to photographing children with special needs with dolphins during therapy, receiving a fine art degree from Florida University, and being asked to study with John Zarkowski, director of photography at New York's MoMA, and so much more. She is so talented, and I am so excited for you to hear our conversation. Melisa Caprio, thank you so much for talking to me today. I really enjoyed being on your show, and I can't wait to kind of dive into what you're doing with your photography and your postcards to the universe, and to kind of get into your why, because that's really interesting to me. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I was excited and I love doing our show together. So thank you for being my guest. But yeah, I'm very excited to talk with you today.
Thanks. So I read your bio. Obviously, we just read it to everybody listening, and there's so much amazing stuff in there. Like, photographing children with dolphins who have disabilities, and working with, tell me if I get this right, one of the photographers who worked at MoMA was like a.
Yeah, John Sharkowski. He actually got photography to be fine art photography, and he was in charge of photography at Museum of Modern Art in New York, MoMA. And when I was in school, we were handpicked, certain students, to be in his class. So it was really, yeah, it was definitely an amazing honor because he put photography on the map as a fine art.
That's incredible. One of my best friends is a photographer, and so I've gotten to see kind of behind the scenes of that world for the last year, and it's really, really amazing. And the biggest thing that we're going to talk about today, obviously, is Postcards to the Universe.
Yeah.
And specifically, really, your why on that, because I was reading that you really feel it's important for people to look within, and you're helping them express what they find in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the way it started was as a photographer, I was always attracted to people's handwritings. I loved to photograph old letters, and I love snail mail. Like I think it's a lost art. So I was always attracted to handwriting, and I found out about what the law of attraction was. Like I took a course, and I found out about how we're all energy, and like attracts like, and we manifest certain things in our lives, and the good and the bad. I'm like, okay, well, let's do it consciously. I want to do it consciously because some bad things, of course, have happened, like to everybody. So I was like, I want to do something consciously, and I wanted to incorporate photography. So one evening, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was half asleep. You know when you're like half asleep but you're still kind of conscious about what's your awareness around you in the room, but you're not like fully conscious. I heard really, really loudly, and I know you'll appreciate this because of how psychically attuned you are. I heard really loudly "Postcards to the Universe." I heard it, and I felt that it was really important. So I got up and I went on GoDaddy, and it was available. So I bought the domain, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I just felt like, okay, I just got a message. So this is important, take it. And then it took me about a year to figure out how I wanted to do the photography. And I thought, okay, people writing what they want to manifest, creating a postcard, I do workshops and teach people how to create a manifesting postcard. And then I photograph them. And when their story comes true, we share it in a book, and I see it as a series of books. I think I shared that with you before. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me more about this. So it came as an intuitive flash.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, your higher self was speaking it into the room so that you could hear about it.
Yeah, I was in bed. I was in bed, and I was in that almost falling asleep, and like it jerked me up. I heard it like very loudly in my head, and I just sat up. I got on my computer, and I'm like, okay, and it was available.
Mm-hmm. I love how everybody goes to the domain name first these days, like when they have an idea. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So it started there. You had the idea. What was the first step in making that a reality?
Well, the first step was okay, I got this. Now, what am I going to do with it? And it sat for a year. So, things don't always happen like right away. And it sat for a good year. And then I had become friends with this woman. I go to these monthly meetings. They're called WOVA, Women of Vision and Action. And every month, she always has a great new guest speaker. And she was teaching a course. This woman was teaching a course, like an in-depth course on the law of attraction. So I'm like, okay, I got to take this course, because I really want to understand more about this. And when I took this course with Mary, I had met another person in her class who was also taking it, who was a web designer. So she really helped me take it down and try to figure out, okay, how are we going to present this to the world? How am I going to approach this? So, and no coincidences, of course, right? I had to take this course, and then I met this woman, Darnella, who was so amazing, and her and her husband, that's what they did. She was a ghostwriter and a web designer. So she totally helped me create my website. Yeah. Excellent. And then from there, it just slowly started to build to where I'm at now, which is I'm doing, I have my radio show, which is Postcards to the Universe with Melisa. It's on 1-2 Radio on Wednesdays at 4 Eastern Time. I do workshops. I'm always collecting postcards, and I've done a webinar, and I'm going to do another webinar in October with a big group. This woman who does Airbone. It's a face cream. It's all organic and makeup, and she really likes it. So she's going to have. We're going to do a webinar, a manifesting webinar in October. So it's growing.
Yeah. So tell me about the workshops. What are they like?
Well, I'm having one on August 5th. Yeah, August 5th is a Saturday here at my studio. I live in an artist studio, so I have the space for it. And it's called Manifesting Your Masterpiece, and it's 3 hours. So what I do is I have a bunch of writing exercises for people to kind of clear some stuff out of the way about what it is they want to manifest. We do a meditation that sort of brings you into the space. And I have all the arts, the crafts and stuff for people to make a manifesting postcard. So then we'll sit around, I'll guide them on exactly how to create one, and we just play and we just have fun. So yeah, they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun. I like, people get really into it because they get to be sort of like a kid again. It's like it's play, and I just tell them, have fun with it, play with it, don't think too much about it, let your intuition speak to you. And, people get all nervous about, oh, I'm not an artist or I'm not creative. And believe me, that you don't need to be. You just need to be present and tap into it. And what I love is that I make it so it's fun so that people put that energy into the postcard, because that's really what's attracting what you want. It's who you are. It's not, just what's on the paper. You're infusing that with your energy, and the universe hears that and goes, got it. It's on its way to you. Now, our job after that, is to release, let it go, and have faith that it's coming. Because I also believe in divine timing too. There's certain things that you have to be ready for. You may ask for something and you're not ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So tell me more about what it is we need to release before we start doing something like that, because that's interesting.
Well, I think we need to, it's a contradiction. We need to release our attachment to it. Because what happens is let's say, I want a certain job. I'm just going to use this for example. I want a certain job. And all you do is, like, say you create a postcard about it, and you put it down, and all you do is worry about it, think about it, think, how is it going to come? What if this doesn't happen? What if this doesn't happen? So what's happening is you're putting the wall of resistance up because you're attached to the outcome. So getting people to understand, okay, have faith that it's going to come. The universe heard you. Your order is in. It's in the cosmic oven. It's being cooked. And then walk away from it, And sometimes the universe brings you something better than you could have imagined. So it doesn't really need your hows and whys and whens. It knows what to do. And and I'm bad at that too. Sometimes I have to remind myself, What are you doing? You know, have faith. It's coming. What you want is coming.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think that clarifies your question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know you collect people's postcards for the
Yeah.
book. So can you tell us some examples of like what people have manifested using?
Oh, sure. Actually, I have some on my table. I'll show you one. My friend Terry Dove, I love her. And now she's not an artist, but she is an artist. She's a secret artist. So this is one side of her card, and then this is the other. She's manifesting a trip. So it's just so beautiful. Now she has sent me like 4 or 5 cards. So she manifested a relationship, the relationship that she wanted. She manifested a new job. So that's why she keeps sending me cards, because she knows they work. So now she wants to go to, where is it? Iceland? Greenland? One of those places where you see the aurora borealis and stuff. So I said, you know you're going. She manifested a trip to Spain. So she's just one example of a super manifester. I have another friend who manifested. She had illness, chronic illness, and she manifested being in remission. So she did a whole card about that. A lot of people about relationships. I get a lot about relationships. So those are just some of the stories.
Cool.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you get a postcard in the mail?
Oh my God, you don't even know. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I get so excited because, like I said, I love snail mail, and some people have the most beautiful handwriting, like Terry's that I just showed you. Her handwriting is just gorgeous. I have terrible handwriting, and I don't know if it's because I'm a lefty or what. Like I didn't learn correctly or something. So when I see somebody's beautiful handwriting and I read what they wrote, and I just think, oh wow, like God, I can't wait for this to come true for them, because I always know that it will, And everyone, when it does, they contact me. And I always tell people, listen, I want you to be part of the story. So when it comes true, contact me. We'll do an interview. I'll put you in my book. We'll do a blog, whatever, so that we can really share about how this is working for you.
That's awesome.
People love to share when it comes true because they can't believe it.
Yeah.
They're like, no way. I said, yeah, I told you it worked.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you're located in Florida and you've been doing most of your workshops there, but you said you had a webinar and you're doing another one. So is this open to everybody?
Yeah, it is open to everybody. I don't have the webinar I'm doing with that group in October isn't. I haven't planned another webinar yet. Like I don't have a date, but I will post a date of somebody that wants to do a webinar. As far as the actual physical workshop, that's open to everybody, and it's on my website, Manifesting Your Masterpiece. So if you're local and you're in South Florida, all you have to do is register. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So one of the things I really love about what you're doing is it's combining so many different aspects of you, right? Like you've been a photographer and you find, a lot of people could say, if they got that idea, like, all right, well, I'll have a workshop and I'll, help people through this process of creating their postcards. But you took it a step further and decided to photograph them and put them in a book with the story.
Yeah.
So was that like, did you download the entire idea all at once, or in that year of incubation, did you get the idea for the book?
Yeah, I would say that I got it in the year of incubation. Like I didn't download it. I just knew that, like I said, I was always fascinated with photographing letters, and then I just had learned a little bit about the law of attraction. And so when it came to me, I really didn't know exactly what I was going to do at all with it. But in that year, and that's when I met, I took the course and I met the other woman, and storyboarding with her and figuring out, okay, what's this going to look like, and her asking me questions that helped me get real clear, on what I wanted it to look like. And it's still evolving. Mm-hmm. Now I have some different ideas of things that I want to do, and, for different books. I just got to get the first book done. I got to get the first book published, and then we'll go from there. Yeah. But I have some different ideas. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what you're going to do for the book? Are you going to go for a big publisher, or are you going to do it yourself?
I'm going to try. I have my book proposal written, so the book proposal is finished. I'm going to try to go traditional publishing route. If that doesn't manifest and I have to do it self-published, then that's what I'll do. Yeah.
Have you made a postcard?
I have, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have made a postcard.
Cool. So what was it like to make the book proposal?
Well, this was really cool. So the book proposal, I took a course with, she's a Hay House author. Her name is Jennifer Grace. And I know her personally. She lives in Fort Lauderdale, and she was a friend of my cousin's, and our paths have crossed many times, and she's all about manifestation. And so she wrote a book, and it was published by Hay House. And she was doing a book proposal course, teaching people how to do book proposals. So I took her class, and I had met some other wonderful women, and we've become really good friends. The class now was 2 years ago, maybe even longer. And we still meet once a month virtually, about 7 or 8 of us from the book proposal, and we support each other. And that's how I got the radio show, through one of the women in that class who has a show on 1-2 Radio. So, and then another of the girls got a show on 1-2 Radio, and I'm like, well, God, I want to do it too. I can do this. So that's how it started. So having a book proposal course was really helpful. It really helped me narrow down what the book's going to look like, the chapters, who, you have to compare. Well, you publish books. You have to do a comparison. So I compared it to Chicken Soup for the Soul, but it looks like the Griffin and Sabine series. I don't know if you're familiar with the Griffin and Sabine series.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, they're amazing. Actually, I have them over my head. I'll push my thing up. See those 3 books on the top shelf?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're books from an artist, a graphic artist and writer, and it's a correspondence between 2 people. And he did all of the writings and all of the art in it, and it has removable pieces. So I felt like it was like, Chicken Soup for the Soul on the one hand, where everybody's story is different and you get to be inspired by their individual story, and then their postcard. And I'd like to maybe in the last chapter have a postcard, physical postcard you could pull out. So I have a lot of ideas about what I want to do with it. And that was all due to the book proposal course. It made me really focus.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've heard that I've never done a book proposal, and I've heard that it's just such a long process, and it like really helps you write the book because you have to figure everything out.
Yes, it really does. I mean, once I get enough, and I'm shopping for, because apparently you need an agent to get a publisher. There are some publishing companies that will look at you without an agent, but so just trying to get the agent first to get to the publisher, and then is giving me the time to collect the postcards and the stories. But I have an idea if I don't have all the stories, so I have a backup.
Oh, cool. Is it a secret?
No, not really. It's kind of like, people are so creative in how they're making them. They're just so interesting on their own. It's sort of like, do you know Frank Warren's Post Secret? You know that series at all? Have you heard of that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to that, except it's Postcards to the Universe. So truthfully, I could create a book. I have enough material to do a book with just the images and photographs of the postcards.
So we should say what Post Secret is, because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so Post Secret, Frank Warren started this Post Secret, and people, I think it's on Sundays is his blog. He allows people to make confessions, they can, anonymously, about anything and everything. And he's created some books, and I think he even has a play now.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's somebody that I would like to, I have him up on my vision board. He's somebody that I would like to contact, because I could see, some kind of a collaboration, maybe at some point. He's on there.
That's really cool. Yeah, I used to read that blog a long time ago. I'm glad he's still coming out with it. And I was around when he first published his book, and it was like really exciting.
Yeah, and they're
you never know where this stuff is going to go.
Right? They're so interesting. So I figured, you know what? Some of these postcards that I've had, and I have like a huge basket full, tons. And I'm just thinking, just those alone are just really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah. I
So one
feel,
thing I really love about your story is that you got this idea from this shouting in your room while you were falling asleep, and
mm-hmm.
you've seen it through, but more juice has come along the way in very indirect ways. Like you said, you got your radio show by meeting someone from, actually by keeping up with people from
Mm-hmm.
the book proposal class. So you've expanded, but the effort has been multiplied, right? It's like you didn't go after the radio show and the book proposal class and a group of women to,
Right.
help you further the book idea. Like all of that came by you following this one idea and going to that one class. So um,
Yeah.
I really think that that's like how we're living now. If we allow ourselves to, right, that like intuitive living,
Mm-hmm.
getting those multi-dimensional results. So are you naturally like this in following your intuition? Have you always been really good
Yeah.
at that? You
Yeah.
have?
I am, and it's gotten me most of the time, it served me well. There's a few times, well, I guess it's always served me well. It's taken me to some places where I've gotten myself into some trouble, but obviously I needed to learn those lessons. My higher self was like, all right, well, we're going to go here now. So are you ready? So yeah, my intuition has always, I mean, that's how I got the photographing the dolphin job, just.
Tell us about that.
So I have a sister who is developmentally disabled and she lives in a group home. And when I first started photography, God, 20 years ago now, I used to photograph her at her programs. I like to do documentary style. I was always attracted to the documentary style photographers. So I used to photograph her at her programs and at the group home and the YMCA and stuff. And I made connections with other group homes and I would photograph other of the residents. Well, it was starting to get repetitive after a few years. It's like the same photos, the same kind of work, the same kind of thing. So I had wanted to expand to therapies, like animal therapy, like hippotherapy, and it just so happened, I was watching the Discovery Channel and I saw a program where they did dolphin swims with developmentally disabled and handicapped kids in Florida Keys. Now, the Florida Keys and Key Largo is only 80 miles from me, so it's not far. So I saw the guy, Dr. Nathanson, and I was totally intrigued. So I hand wrote him a letter and I mailed it to him and I introduced myself, told him what I did, and I said, I would love to come down and observe, and if you allowed me to photograph a little, blah, blah, blah. Well, he responded, he wrote me back. He wrote me back and said, I mean, it's not like we didn't have access to email. It wasn't this was, when did I start with them? I started with them in 2000. So it's not that long ago. He told me to contact the woman who is in charge of the media. Come down. I went down a handful of times. I connected with the families. They really liked me. He liked the way that I photographed because I was very non-intrusive. I mean, I have probably, I don't know, 50,000 images from those years there, maybe even more. And I want to do a book on that at some point. And I was married, just an observer. I was sitting, it was watching them doing the therapy and all that stuff. So he invited me to lunch one day and offered me a full-time job. And I had a gallery at that time. I had a photography gallery in Hollywood. And I said, I couldn't miss this opportunity because I had always wanted to, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a marine biologist and work with dolphins.
Oh, wow.
And I tell that story in my workshops. The universe sometimes supplies you with something better. I mean, life just took over and I wasn't encouraged by a teacher. And so I never went into marine biology, but I was totally obsessed with dolphins and Jacques Cousteau when I was a kid and wanted to be a marine biologist. And here I am now, fast forward so many years, and an opportunity presents itself that I get to work with dolphins and do photography. So the universe did give me my manifestation because it was really more about the dolphins than the marine biology part of it. And I worked there for 7 years every day. I got to spend time with the animals. So it was really, I cherish that experience. Yeah. It was magical.
That's awesome. So for the people who have more interference in their brains, right? Sometimes like I'll hear, okay, well, you were offered the job, but did you have to move or did you drive all that way? Like what happened to make that a reality?
Yeah, so I had a gallery in Hollywood, Florida, and I had a house, and I was living with my boyfriend at the time. And I said, okay, this is too important. I can't pass this up. But I wasn't ready to close the gallery yet. So that first year, I worked out a program with him where I was only there 3 days a week, and I stayed at a dolphin trainer's house. I rented out the room. He paid for it, and he paid me a salary. So I was there part-time the first time. And then, as things happen, I closed the gallery, and then the following year I moved there. Yeah, so I got out of the house and I moved there, and I was there full time.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you negotiated.
I was like, there's no way that I'm not taking this. I will make this work, whatever I have to do. Yeah.
Cool.
Even if I had to drive every day,
Mm-hmm.
I would have done that. I mean, it was hard. This is when we weren't on digital yet. I was still doing film. So I had to do the photos, drop them off, get the negatives, print out the pictures. I was doing books for all the families. It was a lot of work.
Mm.
But it was worth it. I was so tan. Oh my God. It was so dark. Yeah.
When you were going to, when you saw the television program and you had the idea to write them in the letter, did you have any doubts in your mind before you sent it? No, you just went on pure excitement.
I was on pure excitement, and I was like, and I wasn't thinking of a job. Like that that wasn't even in my vision. I just thought, I have to go and see this program. I have to, especially because of, like I said, I have a sister who's developmentally disabled, and just seeing the therapy and then, expanding my own photography work. I was like, this is such a perfect opportunity, and it's right in my backyard. How could I pass this up? So it worked out great.
Did you tell him all of that in your letter, like about your sister and how you've been photographing her? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I shared with him, why I was doing what I was doing, that I was a fine art photographer, doing documentary, working with the developmentally disabled community because of my sister. And so I gave him the whole background. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was so shocked when he offered me the job. I was like, there was another photographer that they were outsourcing there at the time. And she was a local photographer who had a studio, and this was part of her business. So they paid her as a subcontractor, but he wanted an in-staff photographer. And she was, not available to really do that. I mean, she could have, I think, but she wasn't so available. And she was a little older, and it was very hard I have to say it was really hard on the body, because you're outside all day, you're in the sun, the heat, so you have to be in, pretty good physical condition to handle it. Because at the time, oh my God, I was outside like 6 hours a day, every day in Florida, which is ridiculously hot in the summer. Yeah.
Amazing.
But I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, like how did that change you, being in that environment around the dolphins and the therapists and the children and the families?
Oh my God, I swear I was the only photographer, so I had a lot of, I could never get sick. It worked out well because we had 10 weeks off in the winter because the water is a little too cold for the kids. So we would have 10 weeks off over the holidays. So it worked out well. And you could set up your salary like a teacher, where you could get paid throughout the whole year, or you could take it, in the 9 months or whatever. So I was okay with that, but I loved it. I loved even when I didn't like it because I was exhausted, I loved it. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I loved the families. In fact, some of the families I'm still friends with and I see on Facebook. I loved the experience with the animals. I got to see 2 births, 2 live births. I got to understand their personalities and the way they related to each other as a group and their families. It's a matriarchal society. I got to see and so much. Yeah, it. I cherish it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's why when Postcards came and I thought how important it was, I'm like, I had this amazing experience and then it ended, and I have to create something else that's just as amazing and better for in a different direction.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So, kind of in the same vein, I want to talk about the transformation of the people that you work with now. So, when you are helping these people connect with what it is that they really desire, what happens to them?
Well, I noticed for the people, there's you get this you get some of the people that I have to say, some are just the Debbie Downers that it doesn't matter what insight you offer, it doesn't matter what proof you show them or other people's stories. They're in their own negativity and they can't get out of their own way. And you have some of those people. But most people just come in, and a lot of people are like, oh well, this is fun, this is creative, and they sort of like take it like with light, and you don't hear back from them. But then you have the group of people that are waking up. You know what I mean? Like they're becoming more conscious and they're starting to, something about it feels right to them. They don't necessarily understand why. And they think, okay, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I know I need to be doing this because I want my life to be, whatever it is that they want their life to be. They want an expansion in a certain area. So usually those are the ones that keep in touch with me, get back with me, kind of like I say, my tribe. You have your tribe, right? You have the people that are like doing kind of similar things, and they love to share. And that's why I see the book as the ultimate book is their real stories. I want their story with their postcard and how they shifted and what shifted for them, because I think that's what's really going to help people.
Yeah.
And I know the longer I do it, the more stories I'll collect.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those things. It's like something you just got to keep working.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. So, how can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about all of these amazing things?
I'm really easy to find. So if you Google, all you have to do is Google Postcards to the Universe and you'll find me. You'll find my website. I'm on Facebook. I have Postcards to the Universe on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. And on Instagram, I'm going to do, starting in August is going to be Abundance Month. I'm going to do a giveaway, photo challenge giveaway. So every month I'm going to do a new one, and I'm going to pick a theme. And at the end of the month, I have a gift, and it's going to relate to what that theme is, abundance or whatever is the first one, as a giveaway for the person who follows the rules, which is basically follow me, and I want people to photograph, and I want people to contribute. So they're going to have to create a picture about abundance, and they're going to have to hashtag.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. So, I know we just connected on Instagram today, so I'll definitely
I went to Barnes & Noble yesterday and I got some cool goodies.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think about, all right, how do I get my name? How do I get postcards out there? How do I get more people who want to play and who want to do something and want to contribute? So I'm really looking, and I know Instagram seems to have just taken off, I mean, I love Facebook. I love the engagement with Facebook. It's a different kind of engagement. But as far as doing the photo challenge, I thought, well, Instagram's the place to do that.
Absolutely, yeah. And since your work is so visual, it's perfect.
Yeah, and then I'm curious to see that what people will look at as from their own perspective that represents abundance for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, August will be abundance, and September will be like self-care or self-love. So I'm going to try to use the first letter of the month to figure out a theme for that month, kind of thing, and make it fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Melissa Caprio and Postcards to the Universe, people can use those to find you online.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of words of wisdom or things you've learned that you want to leave people with?
Words of wisdom. I guess the thing I would say is take action and have faith. Just take a step, even if it's a small step, every day for whatever it is that you want to bring into your life. It doesn't have to be big, just something small. Take a little action because the universe is watching, it's responding, and it will meet you. You just have to have faith that it's coming.
I love that. And you're such a good example of taking action.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love how fluid you are and how you just, follow your excitement. It's like you have so much fairy energy. It's all like play, and the dolphins are all about play too. So
Thank you.
really not surprising that they've been in your life.
Thank you so much. I'll give you a quick, I'll turn my thing so you'll see. Do you see the pictures?
Yes.
The couple right there that I get to look at every day.
That's so great.
Yeah. My little gallery wall. So it reminds me of all the things I love, art, photography, and all my stuff that I get to look at every day. So it's kind of a constant reminder.
That's cool. That's your big remembrance postcard.
My big, huge vision board.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for asking me and for being on my show last week. It was great.
Well, thank you. And I know people will really enjoy this.
Thanks so much. Okay.
Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to intuitive art and you've never done it with me, go to intuitiveartacademy.com for your free class. You'll learn how to have a conversation with your higher self in 3 easy steps. That's intuitiveartacademy.com. And if you're already a pro or you've done the free class and you want to learn more about creating abundance from your purpose, go to workyourpurpose.com and you'll watch a free video series all about what it takes to create a purposeful income from doing what you love. All right, enjoy, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.